What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I just wanted to do a quick guide on how you can complete the final boss encounter in the EATER of Worlds raid lair. So this is actually kind of a two-phased fight, or there's two different parts that you have to do, very similar to Axis in Wrath of the Machine. And it's pretty cool because they use kind of similar mechanics and then build on those mechanics as you go to the final boss fight. So in the first part of the fight, you essentially have to take down a shield which is around the boss so you can reveal them, and then in the second part you actually fight the boss. So inside of this room there are three plates, and each of them have an element that they correspond to. The plates are laid out kind of in a triangle, so I'm on the void plate right here, and the top right from me is the arc plate, and then on the left hand side is the solar plate. And I'm going to break this down based on how we completed this encounter, but we had players split into groups of two, so there's me and another player, and then two players on the top right or the arc plate, and two players on the left hand side on the solar plate. One player on each plate is going to stay and defend, and then another player is going to run around and pick up these Vex cranium nodes. The Vex craniums can actually be kind of dunked into the plates, and they will form a kind of cannon or a weapon very similar to the prism weapon that we see in the Leviathan Pleasure Garden. And these are going to be used for damage on both the boss and the shields inside of both encounters. So right here on my plate I'm just defending, our other player is running around and picking up the craniums, and you'll notice that there are these rings on the side of the shield or the wall in front of me. What happens is you'll actually get three crystals kind of light up, so on the screen you can see there's a void one, an arc one and a solar one in front of me, and only one side of the room will have these crystals light up at a time. So I call out void plate, or Houndish, you can call your name, and then call that you need void, arc and solar. And what this means is that the players taking the craniums are actually going to go and charge those weapons at the corresponding plate. So one of them will come to the void plate near me, but another one will be taken to the solar plate on the left hand side of the room from me, and another one to the arc plate. And you actually put the craniums into the kind of flames that you can see right in front of me here, and this will charge them into weapons over a period of time. They do kind of make a pinging sound when they're charged. Once they are charged on each of the individual plates, they can actually be used to destroy the crystals that we see on the wall in front of me. So the players who have actually been running the craniums pick them up, and you can see that they've actually been taken down. Once the final one right there is taken down, it will break off a part of the shield which is defending the boss. In this instance I had another three come up on my side, so I've got two void and one arc, and this means we need to have two void craniums charged on the void plate and then one charged on the arc plate. So the players running around picking up the craniums can deal with that, other players can continue defending their plates. So there are two void craniums actually charging on the void plate next to me, and once all of them are completely charged, players can pick them up and use them to shoot the crystals, and you can see another piece of the boss's shield comes off. And you essentially repeat this process around the room until the boss's shield has been completely removed, and that's pretty much it for this encounter. You've actually kind of unlocked access to the next part of the fight. So obviously that's just a brief description based on how we completed this encounter. Of course this will be kind of fine-tuned over time, and the strategy and everything like that will improve, but you're going to use the same basic principles to actually do the next part of the fight. It will involve calling out elements, having players go and pick up craniums and charge them accordingly, and once charged actually using them to take down a boss's shield. So we kind of stick to the same roles. We're going to have three people defending and then three people running craniums, and at the start of the fight you can all kind of stay in your original positions if you're defending, so I'm still on the void plate. But what happens now is one particular side of the room will actually be designated as the place that you're going to do DPS. So in this instance the arc plate on the top right hand side has been selected, and you can tell this because the node on the front of the shield is actually bright white, and then you'll have three kind of elemental bombs appearing on the corners of the boss's shield. So in this case we've got one arc on the left hand side, a void on the right hand side, and a void at the top of the boss's shield. So at the very least we will need those cranium weapons actually charged. But this time around what we did is have all of the defense players kind of move to the primary DPS plate and kill all of the harpies that spawn there, as well as take out minotaurs and get heavy ammo and things like that. Players who've been running craniums make sure those weapons are charged on the plates, and once they're fully charged they'll need to pick them up and then all converge on the DPS plate that's been selected. You can't see this on screen right here, but what you'll need to do is have the three players each shoot one of the kind of bombs on the corner of the boss's shield. So two of our players are holding void cannons and one is holding an arc cannon. You'll need to count down and each shoot one of the bombs that are on the corner of the boss's shield. When you do this they'll all kind of slide to the middle and the boss's shield will actually be taken out. A thing to note while you're doing this though is that it is good to actually kind of fill the plate where you're doing DPS with craniums, so the additional ones that you don't need specifically specifically to take down the bombs on the corners of the boss's shield, can actually be put into the primary DPS plate and then used to do bonus damage, and they do a ton of damage to the boss. Anyway, as we kill adds, the players use the cannons to actually take down the boss's shield. You can see that it comes off and we start doing damage, but almost immediately when the shield comes off, it will fire a kind of crystal dart type thing at you. So if you don't move out of the way, what this does is it kind of detains you and then lifts you up into the air. So you'll need to try and completely avoid this dart as you do DPS, although players can actually shoot the kind of detained shield to let you out of it. So anyway, we're doing our damage right here and everything like that, and then the shield comes back up. But this time around, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're not going to repeat the exact same mechanics we've just done. Instead, we had our runners who are doing the cranium cannons actually charge up a couple on each plate, and in the meantime, we take down some of the adds, especially where all of the harpies are, and this is your next kind of targeted DPS plate. But instead of using the cannons to actually take down the orbs on the side of the boss's shield, this time we wait a little bit longer, and you'll see this notification that says void energy rips the air. And what you'll need to do in this phase is actually shoot some of the kind of white nodes that appear on the boss, and there will be these platforms kind of levitating around the boss. So you'll need to split up into groups of 3, have 3 players on the left and 3 players on the right, and there are 3 different pairs of places on the boss that you'll actually need to shoot throughout the fight. So for the first round, both groups go to the very top level. We've got one on the left and one on the right. You can see that I'm on the left hand side here, and our group is shooting the white node on the left of his head. The other group is shooting the one on the right, and you'll need to kind of count down and do this at the same time and do a lot of damage to actually essentially stun the boss. And once you've done this, you'll go back onto the ground level and repeat what you did in the very first phase. So you'll have a plate selected as the main DPS point. The player on that plate will call out which elemental bombs they see on the corners of the boss's shield. All the defense players will go to that particular plate to shoot harpies and everything like that. The other players will charge the craniums as necessary, and once the cannon weapons are completely charged, those players will be able to take down the boss's shield. And then you can do DPS. Once again, watch out for the kind of crystal things and all of the harpies that are firing at you. And once you've done this round, you'll once again need to complete the round where you jump onto the levitating platforms around the boss, but this time you'll have to shoot a different set of the white patches on the boss. So for the second time, we kind of shot on the arms on the bottom side of the boss right here. Again, we've got a left hand side and a right hand side group, and of course the amount of phases you have to do really is based on your damage. We had to do another phase and we ended up shooting the white patches on the boss's back for the last phase. So of course, once again, you'll have your 2 groups of 3, and after that phase you'll be able to do a final damage phase, just like the very first phase that you did in the second part of this encounter. Once you've done enough damage, you can see I died there, I got absolutely wrecked by something. Once you've done enough damage, the boss will go into a kind of last stand mode where you just need to pump everything you've got into the boss. You can see we take him down, we get the new emblem right there as well as some tokens, and then you're actually teleported into the final room of the normal Leviathan raid here. So we all get some loot. I got the boots as well as the gauntlets earlier on in the raid. A couple of us got weapons, I believe it's a grenade launcher as well as a shotgun, but I will be hopefully doing a loot video or a video about the new weapons soon. So anyway, I hope this guide has helped you out. It's a bit of a complicated one to explain, especially without all of the different perspectives that you actually need and the different roles. But as a preliminary guide, I hope it has been useful. If it has, guys, a like is very much appreciated below. Let me know how you got on with this thing in the comment section. I want to give a huge shout out to the team and my friend Shadow Rock. You can also check out his YouTube channel in the link in the description for some pretty awesome Destiny content. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more Destiny 2 content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. But for now, have an awesome day.